Hello, Combat, and welcome back to another Marvel Snap 10 decks of the week. It's a weird intro in it. Anyways, so as always, we're going to be looking at 10 decks of the week, and then we're going to be finished with talking about the new card this week, which was Red Guardian? Yeah, Red Guardian this week. So, as always, these decks are taken from all over the place. I'm not going to be giving you the 10 best started decks there is. I just find decks that look fun and are good, right? So yeah, let's get into it. So first deck is going to be a Lockdown deck. I know Lockdown had kind of got a bad rep for the patch where, the patch, I guess, where Lockdown was everywhere. But now that it's just a deck and it's not every single place, this is nice. It's not super annoying Lockdown as well. It's just kind of the Storm stuff. Not going like full Professor X Lockdown stuff, because quite frankly, it's not very good these days. But like, this is just like what I'd call Storm, Miss Marvel, and then you've got like Jeff and Vision type stuff, and Doom, right? Kind of Lockdown. So it's pretty standard, other than it's got Miss Marvel and Negasonic. It's probably the only things that aren't standard for this list. Like Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel could be Jessica Jones, but I just don't like that card. It's just not a card for me. I'd rather have something more flexible. And I like Captain Marvel, and Negasonic's just a great card, especially if people are going to try to slam you down with a Red Hulk and then you just blow it up. Amazing. So next up we have a Black Bolt type deck. So this has always kind of been I'd call it like a good card deck, because it was a kind of good card. But this version's got Dark Hawk in there, which is very interesting to me, because if you've watched some of my videos the last month or something, I did play a couple of Black Bolt decks. I did put them in mill a lot, because I like the idea of it. I think it's great in the mill package. But this is leading into the Dark Hawk side, so I seen this and I thought, yes, this is interesting. I want to show this deck, because it's something I would play, and honestly, it literally might be tomorrow's video. I'm probably gonna play some of it after this and see how it goes. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Next up, we kind of got a move deck, silky smooth type move. It's kind of just calling it silky smooth. feels awkward, because it is just a move deck, but you don't really want to call it move because it doesn't have like the move cards, which is kind of sad. So it's just like the silky smooth deck, right? However you want to call it, you're just stacking up. You're taking advantage of Angelas and Cravens with Bouncing Silk and Spider-Mans and stuff like that. You've also got Hope in here, so you could energy cheat. I've seen people not use Hope in this deck, which I don't like, because I find like having Hope in here lets you play Kitty every turn with like the Vision on 5 or the Red Hulk on 6 with Kitty, right? And it lets you bounce around and get some more energy and get more cards out. Opens up like a turn, possibly of a turn 6, drop in a 4 and a 3. Maybe you've drawn Spider-Man on 6 and you can Shang-Chi and Spider-Man, or maybe you've drawn Silk late, right? And you can Shang-Chi, Silk, Kitty or something like that in the last turn. It just opens up. I just like having that extra energy. It gives you the flexibility, and really nice. Obviously countered by other people's Red Hulk if you don't spend the energy, but we get there. Next up we have like a Junk Dark Hawk list. This is pretty standard for this type of stuff. It's kind of been around for a while, right? The Junk into Dark Hawk kind of went over here. It was like this version before as a Zabu, before Dark Hawk became a 5-drop, and then it stayed this version after that. And yeah, it's kind of a nice thing. You throw some junk and you got Dark Hawk as an ending turn if you want to, or you've got Red Hulk. Flexibility, quite good on this deck. Next up, we have it's Pixie deck. I was like, what the next is, but it's a Pixie deck, right? You got some cheap cards in 3/1s in Hood, Ham, Iceman, Nico. You've got Mobius to help with the Pixie low rolls. You got Red Guardian here as a tech option, because it's just a simple free. You didn't want like playing like a Shang or Enchantress with Pixie feels bad because you don't really care for them being a 1-drop, right? So you want the lower Ken to swap it, right? Because although if you had a Shiny and swap the Shang with Red Hulk, a 4-drop Red Hulk is nice, but you know, you'd rather have a 3, right? And you don't really need the tech cards in here. You've got Sentry in here with Lady Deathstrike. Honestly, I think Lady Deathstrike's one of the best buffs they have done in a long time. Like, this card feels good now, and I love the fact that my Lady Deathstrike is a pixel, so when I destroy stuff, they get wrecked by a pixel. Okay, next deck. Next deck is... oh, it's a Shuri list. I feel like it's just another move deck, but yeah, it's Shuri. Should really title these when I'm making them. Yeah, so obviously you're gonna go big with cards. You've got Elsa and Hope in here, so you can build up a big kitty, protect it with armor. Obviously, you can go for a Shuri Vision type play, and then you've got Taskmaster to follow it up, right? So you've got plenty of ways of help building up a big card. It's not running the old Sauron Red Skull package. God, my brain just went foggy then. Yeah, so this is kind of that version of Shuri. Next up we have... this is like a mid-lockdown deck, right? Yeah. You've got Cable, Baron, and kind of Gladiator, right? They can mill cards. Obviously, you've got Cosmo in here to stop people going off on one and doing their thing. Shang-Chi for anything big that Gladiator might pull or they play. Iron Lad because you've got a lot of good targets, right? Let's have a look at Cable's alright. Jeff's a great pull. Shang could be okay. Baron off Iron Lad is good. Professor X, Red Hulk, you know, all those ones. And then obviously you can lock down a lane with Professor X if you get ahead because you've got Daredevil in here. Not a big fan of Daredevil. I like to just risk it RNG style. But yeah, it's not my deck. So next up, kind of a standard discard. This is kind of like a, I don't want to say full on, well, it is a full on discard, but like discard kind of became this value deck, I want to say, right? Because look here, right? You got Colleen that hits a swarm, right? And you play them for free, right? You got these cheap discarding Blade, cheap scalers in Meek, Mobius. Strong Guy is what? Is that? It's a 9 power now if you empty your hand, and it works with Apocalypse. Lady Sis, a 3/5 that can give you an extra 4 power to Apocalypse. If you've got Apocalypse in hand, it's literally leading up to like a 3/9 if you want to look at it that way. Proximus a 0/7. It's just value with discard at the moment, which makes it a decent deck. Oh god. Next up we have, this is another junk deck. I feel like I've had a couple of junks in here. So this is like clogging junk deck. Yeah, this is different. Okay. So this is the idea, is you just gonna clog them. This is a clogger's deck, not a junk. Same thing, but different, you know. So you're gonna throw them Titanias and Debris Rocks and Green Goblins and Hoods and Sentry stuff, and then you've got Cannonball and Doc Ock that can fill up a lane, and you can make the most of like Cannonball destroying a card on the last turn or something. And the last card before we look at Red Guardian is a Havoc deck. I did a Havoc deck yesterday, which I prefer to this one, but this is the one that's been kind of clicking around. I think this was Safety Blades version of it. It's a Ravonna Havoc deck, right? So you've got Angela, Havoc, Green Goblin, Wolfsbane, and Professor X all benefiting from Ravonna, and you get it in. I did my version a little different, where I just had Havoc and I just abused energy with Hope and stuff like that, which I felt good with. But yeah, this is the other version of it, and it's pretty fun. So lastly, we will talk about this week's card, which was the Red Guardian. Honestly, I said at the start of the month when I ranked these cards that this card would be a stable, like a solid card in decks, but it won't make or break a deck. It won't make a deck better. It's just a tech card. It's a good tech card that it can fit in decks. Whether it makes it better or worse depends on the meta and the matchups, right? Some decks it'll feel great in, some feel bad in. The fact it's pretty much a 3/5 every game means that its flexibility is up, right? if it had to like hit an effect, if it had to hit like an ongoing or something like that effect, right, it'd be worse. But because it just hits any card and makes -2 as well as removing, like if you didn't have the -2, the card would be so much worse. But because it does have the -2, it's a 3/5, which is solid stat, great card for its stat and power with a higher advantage than just being a 3/5. So that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit that like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you tomorrow for another video. Peace.